Okay, picture this. The absolute titans of world football, a relentless underdog, and a ticking clock that almost sent shockwaves around the entire globe. This is Brazil 2-1 Japan, the 96th minute miracle.
Okay, let's dive right into this. It's the 96th minute. The score, deadlocked at 1-1. The five-time world champions, Brazil, are literally seconds away from a grueling extra time, or, honestly, an unthinkable early elimination. The tension in the air was just palpable.
As our source material brilliantly puts it, this was an absolute heart-in-mouth survival. We are talking about the massive round of 32 clash on June 29th at Energy Stadium in Houston. The stakes could not have been higher. But before we break down that breathtaking, chaotic climax, we've got to rewind a bit and see exactly how we got to this point.
Section 1. Japan stuns five-time champions.
So, to really understand the stakes, we have to look at the pre-match context. Brazil, the Group C winners, had comfortably beaten Haiti and Scotland to get here. They brought massive, undeniable star power. Vinicius Jr. was already sitting on 4 tournament goals, and Bruno Guimaraes was pulling all the strings with 3 assists. Facing them were Japan, Group F runners-up under coach Hajime Moriyasu. Now, they were openly labeled the dark horses of the tournament, and they fully embraced their DNA as giant slayers.
In the first half, Brazil held a staggering 80% of the possession. 80%. That is huge. But, possession doesn't always equal penetration. Japan set up this brilliant, highly disciplined deep block. Brazil was essentially just passing the ball around a brick wall, offering very little actual threat, while Japan patiently waited in the shadows for their exact moment to strike.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what happens when a dominant team gets complacent. A stray, loose pass from Danilo leaves Casemiro completely beaten. And Kaishu Sano, he pounces. He intercepts, surges forward, and unleashes this clinical, ruthless strike from outside the box, right past Alisson, to open his international account.
Minute 29. I want you to just imagine the absolute stunning silence that washed over the thousands of Brazilian fans in the stadium right in that 29th minute. The unthinkable had actually happened. Japan, striking with lethal precision, took a shocking 1-0 lead. Sano, who ironically could have been sent off earlier for a clumsy challenge, suddenly became the ultimate disruptor.
Section 2. Casemiro's dramatic redemption story.
Brazil's first half was incredibly wasteful, so manager Carlo Ancelotti knew he had to react. He pulls off the injured Lucas Paqueta and throws on the 18-year-old teenage sensation Endrick. Ancelotti knew he had to inject pace, youth, and unpredictability to somehow break down Japan's stubborn defense.
And the momentum shifted fast. So let's look at the timeline. 29th minute, Sano puts Japan ahead. Right at the 45-minute mark, Endrick is substituted on, and he immediately changes the dynamic of the attack. And then, at the 56-minute mark, the veteran midfielder Casemiro steps up to answer for his earlier mistake, heading in the absolutely crucial equalizer.
Talk about going from villain to hero, right? You could literally feel the sheer emotion pouring out of him. Off a beautiful pinpoint assist from Gabriel Martinelli, Casemiro powered his header in at the back post, and the Brazilian bench absolutely erupted. I mean, he made the blunder that helped create the Japan goal, and in the exact same match, he completely authored his own redemption.
Section 3. The 96th minute miracle.
All right, we're deep into the match now, frantically searching for a winner. Vinicius Jr. takes down a long pass. He uses his very first touch to completely nutmeg a defender, jukes sharply to his left, and curls an absolute wonder shot that looks literally destined for the far post.
But out of nowhere, Japan's goalkeeper Zion Suzuki pulls off a miraculous fingertip save, pushing the ball right onto the post. It was a breathtaking defensive stand. Suzuki was putting his body on the line, pulling off incredible saves, doing everything humanly possible to keep the Samurai Blue alive. The 96th minute. We are in the 6th minute of 6 minutes of stoppage time. These are the final, agonizing seconds. The tension in Houston is just unbearable. The final whistle is moments away.
Suddenly, Bruno Guimaraes, the relentless engine of this Brazilian side, looks up through the utter chaos and threads an absolutely incisive, perfectly weighted pass forward.
And Martinelli scores, 2-1 Brazil. It's an incredibly composed two-touch finish from the substitute, Gabriel Martinelli. Suzuki manages to get a tiny piece of it, but the ball just dinks off the post and over the line. The Brazilian bench storms the field. The Japanese players collapse to the turf, totally heartbroken. Carlo Ancelotti is fiercely pumping his fists. Brazil survives.
Section 4.
match analysis, and takeaways.
Now, what's really interesting about this breakdown is that while Japan's 96th-minute exit feels incredibly harsh given their heroic defending, the underlying metrics tell a very objective story. Brazil ended the match with 1.72 expected goals compared to Japan's mere 0.23. So ultimately, the data shows that Brazil's late winner was statistically deserved. Japan was simply made to pay for sitting back a little too deeply in those dying moments.
Looking back, 4 key storylines really define this clash. First, we absolutely have to acknowledge Japan's incredibly brave, deep block defensive performance. I mean, they nearly shocked the world. Second, Casemiro's dramatic personal redemption arc, going from a costly blunder to a powerful equalizer. Third, Gabriel Martinelli proving to be the ultimate super sub, turning his 25 minutes on the pitch into the game-winning moment and totally validating Ancelotti's tactical brilliance. And finally, Bruno Guimaraes acting as the constant engine and delivering that decisive final assist.
Which leaves us with a burning question. After escaping Japan's incredibly brave last stand by the absolute skin of their teeth, does Brazil actually have the momentum to dominate their next opponent in the round of 16, whether that's Ivory Coast or Norway? Or did this grueling match expose a tactical vulnerability that could be their ultimate undoing? Think about that for a second. Thank you so much for joining this explainer, and we will see you next time as we continue to break down the biggest tactical moments of the tournament.